All right, Chair, we are ready whenever you are.
Thank you, David. We'll now get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending today's Planning Commission meeting. The Commission is convening today to discuss several matters. The Commission is required to review these items. Our vote will advise the mayor and council prior to their actions. The bills on our agenda will also be reviewed at various council committees and city council, where the meetings will be held publicly and open to comment. Please today be respectful of the process and all the individuals that are participating in this meeting. We appreciate the dedication and the enthusiasm that everyone's giving to this process. Please also be aware that anyone can speak about any agenda item. Staff and commissioners might not respond to every question or comment. And during public comment, please only speak to the agenda items that are being reviewed at that time. Please do not restate comments or questions that other members of the public have already commented on. The commission may request the comments from the public be limited in time so that everyone has a chance to participate. And finally, I want to take the time to thank the staff putting these meetings together. I will now call this meeting to order and hand it back over to the staff to start the meeting. Dave.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. David Fecto with the legislative team with the City Planning Commission, here with an important safety announcement. You are currently in room 18029, and your safety is our priority. In an emergency, please listen to announcements on the loudspeaker, which will provide safety information. If you do not hear an announcement, please follow the directions of security officers and city planning staff. There are two doors along the sidewall to your left. These doors lead to the elevator lobby. If an order is given to evacuate this room, the nearest stairway is to your right once you reach the lobby. Follow the exit signs to reach the stairway. If an order is given to evacuate the building, the rally point is at Love Park. Please remain at the rally point so that we can account for you. Restrooms are in the lobby across from the elevators. Now I'll turn the meeting over to our moderator, Amy Boyd, for some instructions about how the meeting will be conducted.
Welcome to the March 19th, 2026 Philadelphia City Planning Commission meeting. I'm Amy Boyd with the Planning Commission staff, here to review some brief housekeeping procedures for today's meeting. During the meeting, each agenda item will be presented by a member of the Planning Commission staff. Following each presentation, the chair will ask the commissioners for questions or comments. The chair will then ask the audience for questions and comments. After that, the commissioners will finish their discussions and vote. If you would like to speak during an agenda item's public comment period, please tap on the raise hand button on the menu bar on the bottom of your screen at any time during that item. You will be called upon by the chair and have the opportunity to speak to the commission and the audience. If you're calling into the meeting by phone, you can press *9 to raise your virtual hand to speak. Please use the Q&A function only if you have questions about the meeting process. Please do not use it for testimony. This meeting is being recorded and will later be posted to our website. If you are in the audience in person, please come to the table when the chair asks for public comments. Write your name on the paper provided, turn on your microphone, and speak to the commissioners. Thank you for joining us today, and now I'll turn the meeting over to Jesse Lawrence, the Commission Chair.
Thanks so much, Amy. I'll now take Commissioner roll call. Commissioner Clinton.
Present.
Commissioner Brown.
Present.
Commissioner Somerville.
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez. And Commissioner Valle.
Present.
I believe we have quorum. Thank you, commissioners. First action item on the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes for December 4th, 2025. Commissioners, you have received these meeting minutes. Hopefully you've had the chance to review. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for December 4th, 2025? We have a first from Commissioner Gonzalez.
Second.
Properly second by Commissioner Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the Executive Director update. Director Howell.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, commissioners and members of the public. Thank you for joining us. My name is Octavia Howell, Executive Director of the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. We'd like to start today by welcoming Matt Wysong to the City Planning Commission as our Deputy Planning Director. Matt has over 15 years of experience working for the City of Philadelphia and is returning to us from the Office of Transportation and Infrastructure Systems, otherwise known as OTIS. At Otis, Matt managed a portfolio of traffic safety and traffic improvements on Roosevelt Boulevard, directed red light and speed camera revenues to new capital projects, and contributed to the Chinatown Stitch project. Matt is no stranger to this body. Before his time at Otis, Matt worked at Pcpc, contributing significantly to the development of the Philadelphia 2035 citywide vision and several district plans. Matt also has a strong track record for moving plans from vision to implementation. His efforts resulted in numerous zoning remapping bills and capital investments in North and Northwest Philadelphia, including the Maplewood Mall redevelopment, Broad Germantown and Erie infrastructure improvements, and the redevelopment of the Wissahickon Transportation Center. Welcome back. We are happy to have you on the team. On to our next meetings. The next Civic Design Review Committee meeting will take place on Tuesday, April 7th at 1 p.m. And our next regularly scheduled City Planning Commission meeting is Thursday, April 16th at 1 p.m. We will host these meetings in person at 1515 Arch Street in room 18-029, so this room, and on Zoom. We have 5 streets encroachment bills for administrative approval today. These all meet the city's complete streets policy. Bill number 260095 allows an elevator encroachment at 3400 Aramingo Avenue. This will leave a minimum of 11 feet 9 inches of unobstructed sidewalk width. Bill number 260131 allows a temporary installation of decorative bells for the 2026 semi-quincentennial celebrations. These will be in multiple locations throughout the city. Bill number 260161 allows benches, planters, banners, lighting, and decorative fixtures, all for the purpose of the 2026 semi-quincentennial celebrations. These will be located in the 7600, 7700, and 7800 blocks of Ogons Avenue. Bill number 260216 allows a dumpster encroachment at 509 to 19 Vine Street. This will leave a minimum of 5 feet of unobstructed sidewalk width. Bill number 260217 allows a sidewalk cafe and canopy at 2655 South Juniper Street. This will leave a minimum of 9 feet of unobstructed sidewalk width. This concludes my executive director's update. I am happy to take any questions and turn the meeting over to the chair.
Thank you, Director. Any questions from the commissioners for the executive director's report? Any questions in the audience? Any online, Amy?
I see no hands.
Thank you so much. I will now move on to the next agenda item on today's agenda. The first one we're going to get into is action item for capital program and budget, bill number 260213, 5-year plan.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. My name is Nate Dorfman, and I am presenting bill number 260213, the amended FY 2026 to 2031 capital program. I am also presenting bill number 260214, the amended FY 2026 capital budget. The Planning Commission staff, through the Policy and Analysis team, take a leading role in working with the Budget Office to develop the recommended capital program and budget. This process begins every year in August and runs until June. The steps include preparation for the capital process, then the request phase, where departments submit their proposed projects, the review phase, where proposed projects are considered against priorities and limitations, the recommend phase, where a financially constrained list of priority projects is developed, and the revise phase, where the mayor, city council, and members of the public debate and make changes to the recommended program and budget. For the FY 2631 capital program and the FY 26 capital budget, we are currently in the revise phase. According to city charter mandates, the City Planning Commission shall prepare and submit to the mayor a recommended capital program for the 6 fiscal years next ensuing and a recommended capital budget for the ensuing fiscal year. The Philadelphia City Planning Commission is also charter mandated to review and comment on proposed additions to the capital budget and capital program. City Council adopted the FY26 to 31 capital program, Bill number 250198, and the FY26 capital budget, Bill number 250197, on June 13th, 2025. The Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority, otherwise known as PICA, unanimously approved the FY26 to 31 capital program and the FY26 capital budget on July 28th of the same year. On March 12th, 2026, the mayor proposed and City Council introduced mid-year transfer amendments to the approved FY26 to 31 capital program and FY26 capital budget. These amendments, Bill number 260213 for the capital program and Bill number 260214 for the capital budget, are the items we are discussing today. As these proposed amendments are too large for administrative approval, a Planning Commission action item is warranted. In the capital budget, abbreviations are used. These include CN, Tax-Supported General Obligation Funds, or City New Funds, CR funds, which are operating revenue appropriated from the operating budget, CT, carried forward tax-supported city loans from prior years, CA, pre-financed loans, which are reallocated and already authorized by the City Council or the electorate, FB, federal funding, and SB, state funding. A full list of capital budget terms and abbreviations is available in the capital book on the city's webpage. For FY26, Bill numbers 260213 and 260214 reestablish $145.4 million in CA appropriations or pre-financed loans for projects that were previously designated as CR, which is operating revenue, or PAYGO funds. This is an administrative adjustment that will have no net dollar impact. The $145.4 million in CA appropriations are distributed as follows. $2.5 million CA to the Art Museum for building improvements. $3.7 million CA to Commerce for neighborhood commercial corridor improvements. $12.9 million CA to Finance as matching funds for grants associated with office renovations, Dell Music Center renovations, and bipartisan infrastructure law-funded projects. $217,000 CA to Fleet for fuel tank replacements. $20,000 CA to the Free Library for building improvements to library branches. $10 million CA to Health for the construction of 2 new health centers. $57.5 million CA to the Managing Director's Office, or MDO, as matching funds for the Office of Emergency Management's building renovations, wellness center improvements, and bipartisan infrastructure law-funded projects. $1.4 million CA to the Office of Homeless Services, or OHS, for homeless service facility improvements. $8.2 million CA to Parks and Recreation for renovations to recreation center facilities. $45 million CA to Police for their forensic lab project. $1.8 million CA to Public Property for head house and city improvements. We also have $2.3 million CA to Streets for Vision Zero traffic improvements, stormwater improvements, street lighting improvements, and streetscape improvements. Additionally, these ordinances allocate $15 million in FB, or federal appropriations, to the Water Department in anticipation of a lead service line replacement grant. These ordinances will also allocate $1.1 million in PICA bond funding, or A funding appropriations, to Parks and Recreation. These funds will complete the department's commitment to the wetland restoration project at the Cobbs Creek Golf Course. Overall, The amendments introduced by the administration and council in Bills 260213 and 260214 will make no changes to the amount of general revenue bonds or CN. The amendments will increase the total FY26 capital budget from $7,337,948,000 to $7,354,048,000 for a total increase of $16,100,000. The amendments will also increase the total FY26 to 31 capital program from $17,942,262,000 to $17,958,362,000, also for a total increase of $16,100,000. Staff recommendation for Capital Program and Budget Bill 260213 is for approval. Staff recommendation for Capital Program and Budget Bill 260214 is also for approval.
Thanks so much, Nate. Any questions from the commissioners on the two bills that have been presented for the capital program?
I just have a quick question
Yeah.
on the
Commissioner Somerville.
20,000 for the free library.
Sure.
Can someone address?
I can defer to Tavari, who's been working with us on the capital budget process.
All right, how's everything going? So,
Thank you,
uh,
sir.
so all of the CA appropriations that we're putting in the budget, regardless of department, were funds that the department already had. It's just a different funding source now. So that $20,000, library already had $20,000 of what was considered PAYGO or revenue funds. When we switched that around to use some like older bond funding, we just changed that around, but that's money they already had. So we don't want to take money away, even though it's a small amount. They care about every penny. So do we. You know? Oh, yeah. I can't. I would love to give them more. You know, we had a preview of the budget last planning commission meeting, so we definitely gave them some additional funding. But this is just to kind of take care of what they're currently using. But
To roll it forward.
yeah, we can give them more money in the future. You know, I'm sure they're gonna ask for it. You know.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your.
Yeah.
Any more questions from commissioners? Seeing none, are there any questions in the audience for Nate for the presentation of this item? Seeing none, Amy, do we have anything online?
No hands, Chair.
Thank you. So I assume that we will take a vote for both of them separately. I will now call for a motion to approve or accept the staff recommendation for approval of bill number 260213.
I second.
Motion made and properly second, and I will now poll the commission. Commissioner Clinton,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Somerville,
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Aye.
and Commissioner Valle.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. And now I will call for a motion to also accept the staff recommendation for approval for bill number 260214.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation.
A motion on the floor,
I'm gonna second it.
properly seconded by Commissioner Brown, and I'll now poll. Commissioner Clinton,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Somerville,
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Aye.
and Commissioner Valle.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much, Nate.
Thank you.
The next action item on the agenda is for the approval of zoning bill number 260133 in regards to common procedures and requirements. David?
Thank you, Jesse. And again, good afternoon, everyone. Dave Fecto with the legislative team at the City Planning Commission. Chair and board members, on February 26, 2026, Councilmember Young introduced bill number 260133 into council. This bill amends section 14303 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Common Procedures and Requirements by further clarifying exemptions to lapse of permits issued without construction documents, all under certain terms and conditions. And if that sounds confusing, we'll tell you what it means. So we always like to start with our primers, whoever's first up in a series of bills, just to make sure the public understands where these bills come from and what the procedures are. So the zoning code requires us to take zoning bills to commission after they've been introduced by city council. Zoning bills can change the zoning code to update what's allowed in different zoning areas, or they can change zoning text. The Planning Commission weighs in to make sure that the zoning text bill or zoning code map changes are aligned with the city's overall goals for development. And what's important to note here is that you do have advisory authority. We have had people ask whether the commission can stop council from moving a bill forward. They cannot. So here's the bill summary. The bill creates a 6-month expiration date for zoning permits that have no construction documents attached to them. That ends up being an issue that we'll bring up in another slide. Licenses and inspections currently requires construction documents after a zoning permit has been issued during a building permit application. So during the building permit phase, after the zoning permit's been issued. Philadelphia's administrative code, if you're looking at the larger Philadelphia Code of Ordinances, the administrative code sets out some rules that govern the zoning code, mechanical code, fire code, et cetera, et cetera. The administrative code allows a plan examiner, so someone who reviews plans at licenses and inspections, to waive required construction documents if the examiner determines that those documents are not needed to comply with the city's technical code. So what does that mean? That means that if this bill were interpreted to say that construction documents have to be submitted with a zoning permit, a plans examiner could still waive that requirement if they determined that that was not necessary for the particular zoning permit. So what actions require zoning permits? Well, just about all. Changing the use of a property. So that means, let's say you had a restaurant and you wanted to change the use of the property to a hair salon. You would have to get a new zoning permit to change the use of that property. Currently, that use permit would expire in 6 months if you do not try to obtain a certificate of occupancy. All right, and that occupancy certificate just gives you permission to occupy the building. Changing lot lines, so taking 2 or 3 lots and making them into one lot, or taking one big lot, changing them into several lots. That requires a zoning permit. Installing signs, building a new structure or adding to an existing structure. So if you want to build, whether it's a 3-unit row home or you want to build a skyscraper, you're going to need a zoning permit for that. Creating a parking lot, demolishing a structure, clearing a site that has more than 5,000 square feet, and then disturbing the earth in certain environmental protection areas, like around the Wissahickon Creek. So those all require zoning permits. Currently, for all of those actions, you have a requirement that you have an allowance, rather, that the permits expire within 3 years. Unless you continue to try to take some actions to keep it alive after those 3 years, this bill would say, oh, well, if you don't have construction documents submitted, all of these permits would expire within 6 months. That ends up being a problem. Our staff are very concerned that because once a zoning permit issues, an applicant does have a legal vested right to continue with their process. Applicants use this vested right to continue the project development process, and that includes developing construction documents and applying for building permits and hiring contractors. And this bill will likely confuse and even short-circuit this process. So we're going to recommend that you don't recommend approval for this bill to City Council.
Thank you, David. Any questions for David on the recommendation as presented for Bill number 260133? Commissioner Brown?
How you doing? I just have a question in regards to communicating with the council member that
Yes.
introduced the bill. Have you guys had an opportunity to see if there's opportunities to work through it, or?
We have not.
I know that you state that the planning staff is not aware of the intent for the bill, but has there been any further developments? Like, why is this being brought?
I would not be able to speculate, Commissioner. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that for the development of affordable housing, this can be detrimental.
and it discourages it because typically when you apply for financing, you have to have a zoning permit at hand, and there's no guarantee of the financing when you apply. So it takes time for you to be able to leverage all the resources that are necessary. And, and you cannot start construction within 6 months until you have all the financing in place, which can take time. So I just wanted to say that this is really going to undermine affordable housing development in the city.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just want to add to that. I think it inhibits development period, to be honest with you. We here at the planning commission and just DPD period we've worked really hard to try our best to cultivate this environment that allows things to go through the process much faster than they are right now. And we're continuing toward that. But what this does is it does kind of, again, add to the pipeline that goes through zoning, ZBA, so on and so forth, in ways that counter our, positioning and movement that we've done to, clear that pipeline and make that easier of a process. So echo your sentiments and appreciate the feedback. Any more questions from commissioners? Are there any questions from anybody in the audience for the item presented? Seeing none, Amy, do we have anything online?
Commissioner, somebody asked a question during the chat. I was wondering if LRHI wants to raise their hand and address the commissioners.
LR.
LRHI SKW China. And they're raising their hand. May I allow them to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard exactly what you were saying. Yeah, please do.
Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Again, I just wanted to address
Oh, wait. Tony, can we turn up the volume, or Amy, can
Could
we
you
ask
hold on
the
1 second? We
person
just
to
want to turn you up so we can be heard. So you can be heard.
speak louder?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. My name is Sloan King Wolf. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm born and raised. For the commissioners, I just wanted to know, how can projects that are already pre-engineered and workforce aligned, like modular housing tied to apprenticeship, be streamlined through zoning and ZBA so they don't get added to the backlog, especially when financing and timing are already tight?
I'm not sure I understand the gist of the question, but I think that, not just limited to modular housing, we're trying to make sure that we find ways to make the process for development much more swift than it already is. Modular housing, as we continue that conversation along the lines of, utilizing that as a tool. We have an RFI that was closed, I want to say a couple of weeks ago at this point. There's been some useful information that talks about how the city could better align its process with allowing for that type of development to flow through the entitlement process. So what I can say is stay tuned, but the mission at hand is to be able to utilize modular housing as a tool. But the mission overall remains to be able to expedite the development of housing. So we are continuously looking at our processes that allow for a way to make that process much more swift than it exists right now. And I think that to the point of the presentation that's before us, I think this is something that counters that effort. So just stay tuned when it comes to modular housing. The process and the conversation continues, and we hope to be able to talk a little bit more about it very soon in terms of how the city can position itself procedurally and process-wise to be able to allow for that to happen.
Okay, I appreciate you guys.
Sure.
Thank you again.
I see no more hands.
Thank you, Amy. With that said, is there a motion for accepting the staff recommendation for not approving zoning bill number 260133?
I make a motion.
And I second.
Motion on the table and properly seconded by Commissioner Valle. I now will poll the commissioners. Commissioner Clinton?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Somerville?
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Commissioner Valle?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you. Commissioners, zoning bill 260165. Councilmember Lozada introduced this bill on March 5, 2026. The council member had become aware that we were working with other council members to combine various overlays in their council districts into one zoning overlay, and she requested that we assist her in doing the same thing as much as we possibly could. And so what we've decided to do is draft for her a change to her current 7th district overlay to combine 2 other overlays into that. And that's very simple. It's going to sound a little bit more complicated than that, but that's what's going on. So it's Zoning Bill 260165, amending section 4.
If I may, I have to recuse myself, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I don't think this is the one. I think it's coming a little bit later in the agenda. Yep. No worries.
So you're back on, right,
Back.
Commissioner?
All right. So this is amending section 14545 of the Philadelphia Code entitled SEV 7th District Overlay District by adding provisions from the AME, American Street Overlay District, and the NCA, Neighborhood Commercial Area Overlay District, North Delaware Avenue. Removing the AME, American Street Overlay District, from the zoning code and making related changes all under certain circumstances and conditions. Again, not as clear as it could be, but we'll explain to you in just a minute. So very simply, as I stated, this reorganizes overlays in Council District 7. It keeps the existing SEV 7th District Overlay District, which the council member created last year. It adds some provisions from the current AME, American Street Overlay, and we'll explain in the next slide what that is. And that keeps the existing North Delaware Avenue Neighborhood Conservation Overlay. It keeps the use restrictions for the council districts in 1 and 5 intact, and it moves those use restrictions for Council District 7 into the SEV overlay. So we'll have an illustrative slide there to make that clearer as well. So currently, what does the AME, American Street Overlay, do? Well, the former council member for the district added this overlay to the zoning code in 2020. And her goal was that because we had developers who were building large housing developments on North American Street where they were not allowed, they were going to the zoning board, and they were getting essentially free dwelling units without any affordability built in. Some of them were making vague promises of affordability and benefits agreements, and as you know, we can't enforce those. So what this did was the goal at least was to force affordability onto large projects that were being built by variance. And then there was another provision that the Commerce Department had recommended, and that provision required 14-foot high ceilings on any ground floor commercial spaces so that those units would be viable for modern businesses and would discourage the conversion later of those units into dwelling units, because we had been seeing a rash of those in projects that had been coming through civic design review. And then the council member also wanted to prohibit regulated uses. So those are things like tattoo parlors and pawn shops and adult businesses. So what this bill does is it removes those affordability standards. And I'll pause here and say, but those affordability standards were different than the current affordability standards that are there kind of lying underneath, which are called the Mixed Income Neighborhoods Overlay Development Standards. They're less onerous. Why do I say that? Because once this zoning overlay went into place, we saw virtually nothing built on North American Street. Instead of discouraging residential development like it was supposed to do, or requiring residential developments to have affordability, we saw an almost complete absence of development on the American Street corridor. And that was not the goal, right? So what this does is defaults to the mixed income neighborhoods overlay. We have seen dwelling units built in the MIN in Council District 7 with guaranteed affordability. This also keeps the use and dimensional rules in place. So that 14-foot ceiling height and the prohibition against regulated uses, those stay. So what does the North Delaware Avenue Neighborhood Conservation Overlay do? Well, what that does is it adds to the code. It was added to the code in 2013. What that was intended to do is to control the expansion of large music venues like nightclubs. There were a rash of them on Delaware Avenue and creeping into the neighborhood. They had become quite a nuisance. And the Fishtown Neighbors Association and Northern Liberties Neighborhood Association approached their council members about putting into place controls to help mitigate the impacts of those. So the overlay currently prohibits nightclubs and entertainment venues, and it also allows restaurants, but it requires them to go to the zoning board for a special exception. This current bill keeps those provisions in place in districts 1 and 5. I want to make that clear for anyone who might be listening from those areas of the city. But then it also takes those provisions and migrates them in a separate overlay into the Council District 7 overlay. And this, what this is going to do is give Councilmember Lozada the ability to customize this and the other sections of her overlay without having to go to districts 1 and 5, to have to work with them, on zoning in her district. So here's the North American Street. The North American Street section of the 7th District overlay will now only apply to lots fronting North American Street between Oxford and Lehigh. And then North Delaware NCA, you have the current picture on your left, the current boundaries. The new boundaries with the 7th District removed. So the 7th District only had a very small portion of this. And that portion to be removed and migrated into Council District 7 overlay is on the far right of your screen. And you can see it's a very small section. But again, the use restrictions do stay in place in both instances. So we're going to recommend approval because this doesn't do any major changes. It simply reorganizes the code.
Thanks again, David. So we have a staff recommendation for approval of zoning bill number 260165. Are there any questions on the recommendation as presented from the commissioners?
I just have a quick question. Could you go
Commissioner
back to
Somerville?
one?
Absolutely.
Is it primarily, because American Street is business industrial?
yes.
Is it primarily sitting around, where's the residential in this? I'm just trying to.
North American Street. So there is no residential zoning on North American Street. It's all zoned ICMX, industrial, commercial, mixed use, at least north of Oxford Street.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure.
Any more questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, are there any questions in the audience in attendance? Seeing no one. Amy, do we have anybody online?
No hands.
No, ma'am. Thank you so much. We'll now call for a motion to accept the staff recommendation for approval.
Motion to accept staff recommendation.
We have a motion on the table to accept staff recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Commissioner Clinton. I'll now poll commissioners. Commissioner Clinton?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Somerville? Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Commissioner Valle?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next item will be presented by Dan Farrell, action item zoning bill 260207. Hey, Dan.
Good afternoon. So yes, Dan Farrell with the Planning Commission staff. I am taking bill number 260207. This is to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within the area bounded by I-76, the Schuylkill Expressway ramp, Hartramp Street, and the Conrail right-of-way. This was introduced to council on March 12th by Councilmember Gilmore Richardson for Council President Johnson. So just a quick reminder of the zoning map changing process. So the Philadelphia zoning map shows how land in the city is currently zoned. The zoning map changes happen when a property owner wants to use the land that is currently zoned for one way for a different use. So the Planning Commission weighs in to make sure that the zoning map change is aligned with the city's overall goal for development. And there was also a chance for the public to weigh in here. Once is during the Pcpc meeting, and then once is during the city council meeting. So this was a former PHA management facility. So this bill remaps 3100 Penrose Ferry Road from ICMX to CMX3. So the goal of this is to facilitate the transition of the site to a more mix of uses that can include things like residential and commercial. So this is 3100 Penrose Ferry Road. It's in Lower South Philadelphia. So it's wedged in the corner of I-76 and the Conrail right-of-way, and it's right above the Sienna Place neighborhood. As mentioned, this was ICMX, the current zoning, and then changing it to CMX3. So here you can see the the current development proposal for this, which is what instigated the bill. So the proposal for the site is a community center with a swimming club, a 50-unit multifamily building, and then 151 single-family homes. Here's just some more additional context of the massing diagram. So we are just looking at phase one here. There is a second phase that is also proposing 134 units in 2 multifamily buildings. That's just the parcel to the south there. So this has been presented to the community, and they've shown some ample support for this. But just a reminder that a proposal for the site and the site plan cannot be tied to a zoning bill. I do also want to note that there's going to be a few more stops remembered for this. So there's going to be still the zoning approval, the streets department review process, and we'll have to come back for CDR. With all that in mind, staff recommendation is for approval. We also have the attorney and the developer. Any questions?
Thank you, Dan. Does anybody want to come up and speak to the item, or are we all right? Appreciate that. Any questions from the commissioners on the staff recommendation for approval?
A question regarding the development. Is this a market rate, affordable, mix? This reminds me of a development that would sit in a suburban space, but anyone can have question on that? And also, who is the developer?
Please state your names. Appreciate it.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ron Patterson. I'm a land use attorney with Claire Harrison in Philadelphia. And this is Justin Vesey, who's the proposed owner and developer. It's under contract. Right now, we're penning it out. I would say that it would not be affordable under the federal rules, but we're working to make sure it's affordable workforce housing that anyone could be included there that lives near in the neighborhood. Certainly not exclusionary.
Have you done other developments for housing in the city, Justin?
Yes, so our company, Trove Capital, formerly operated under BVG. We're in the Turn the Key program, heavily involved in affordable. We're in the process of building 50 houses right now in that program.
What area of the city?
South Philadelphia, District 1 and 2. We've successfully completed 40 of them thus far over the past 3 years. I was one of the first ones that got out of the jump at that point. This project's something to me because I actually live in the development to the left, which are all the houses in Sienna Place. So I kind of have a feel of what the neighborhood wants and what is also a good fit. So yeah.
But it's also challenging because it's bordered by the Hillco development, which is the industrial, the old refinery, I-76, which the other side is BJ's. So it's to kind of repurpose that property, and it's still, like I would say, highly contaminated. It's under Pennsylvania Act 2 cleanup. The refinery plume goes directly under the property. And there's a pump and treatment facility, I guess, on the BJ's property. Is there a well here as well?
Yeah, we have 11 wells on the site that continue to get monitored that we have to keep there, including the pipes on 76. On the 76 side, exactly where it's labeled, they have to stay permanently on my site as well.
Okay. No, thank you for that information. And by the way, as it relates to Bellwether District, I'm sure you've known that it's landed its second largest tenant there. So it should be a
That's great.
asset to your development as this development moves through.
Especially when they open Heart Raft across 26th Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the city's very engaged with Bellwether, so we're watching it carefully.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there plans for parking with the development? I can't tell.
Sure. I'll go through the numbers if you'd like. So there's a total with the homes and the multifamily building. There's a community center with a proposed swim club. Phase 2, Mr. Farrell, if you go to the next slide down, would be, and that's it at the bottom is 2 multifamily buildings. There's also commercial spaces proposed, and I guess what's the use, the baseball facility? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, the community center right now in 3200. There's a guy who's operated in that building for a while. He coaches youth baseball. So we're building him out a community center for indoor baseball, flag football, soccer, which can be hosted for the entire community.
So with that said, as far as parking is concerned, the 151 homes have a total of 414 parking spaces. Each house would have two car parking in the garage and then ample visitor parking all around. That's really the issue that always comes up. Where does everyone park? So there's a visitor parking lot, but there's plenty of parking spaces. The streets will not be dedicated for public streets, so they're going to be within private streets and HOA, so parking will be allowed on those streets. So that's a total of 414 parking spaces on that phase. And as you go down to the lower end with the multifamily buildings, there's garage parking, there's also surface air parking, and the total parking there is 734. So we're over probably 1,070 parking spaces total.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. So I'm assuming that the homes will be for homeownership,
That's correct.
right?
Except for the condominiums as well, correct?
Condominiums.
Yes, they will be, yes.
And do you have a particular price point that you're thinking about for those homeownership units?
Yeah, it's varied on the homes, the condos, but my goal is between the condos and the homes to get in between 400 plus.
And let me just say, you have various models you're going to do.
Yeah.
Some larger, some smaller.
Yep.
Okay. So we have a variety.
Yeah, it would be nice to have some affordability.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Any questions from the audience or online for the developers?
No hands, Chair.
All right, thank you guys, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks for your time.
All right, getting back to the motion, the recommendation on the table for approval. Is there a motion to accept staff recommendation as presented?
I make a motion to accept staff recommendation.
We have a motion on the table,
I second.
properly seconded by Commissioner Valle. I'll now poll commissioners. Commissioner Clinton?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Somerville?
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Commissioner Valle?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is Bill number 260211, and that will be presented by Dan. There goes Dan. Hey, Dan.
This is the one that I need to recuse myself. Excuse me.
See you in a second, Commissioner.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dan Powers. I am the Assistant North District Planner, and I'm here to present Zoning Bill 260211 to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Erie Avenue, Front Street, Lippincott Street, and Second Street. Initially, a request was made to rezone the properties that are owned by ASE. This would enable commercial development in buildings that are already constructed, and it would also enable residential reuse of the former St. Hugh of Cluny at 147 West Tioga Street. Staff at the Planning Commission also included additional properties in order to correctively rezone active and open public schools and to correctively rezone Schmidt Playground and Colazzo Playground. This bill also achieves an agency goal to remove I-2 medium industrial zone or land use from residential neighborhoods and to remove I-3 from where it could be harmful. So like I mentioned, it's kind of a large area and it's broken up into two subsections. Here's an overview of the first sort of area between Erie and Ontario and Front and Second Street. You can see this is where existing school district property is, some industrial land use, the St. Hugh, and Cramp Elementary and the playground right now. Here's the existing zoning. It's all intense industrial, some RSA 3 and residential multifamily. And we propose to, again, correctively rezone it in order to preserve the current land use and enable housing. Here's an overview of the second area between Westmoreland, Allegheny, Front and Second. The current zoning, mostly industrial here. And the recommendation is to accommodate more mixed use, more residential, to rezone this playground and so forth. And here are some views of the existing land uses that are there. A lot of this will be affordable housing. This is the elementary school. And to provide a little bit more context, this bill is consistent with Philadelphia 2035, the comprehensive plan's citywide vision goal 1.1 to promote strong and well-balanced neighborhood centers, goal to improve the quality and diversity of new and existing housing, a goal to reposition former industrial sites for new users. There's more. A citywide goal to preserve culturally, historically, and architecturally significant buildings, sites, structures, and districts. And the North District Plan recommendation encourage the rehabilitation of vacant buildings into affordable housing. With that, the staff recommendation is for approval.
Thanks, Dan. We have a staff recommendation for approval presented to us. Commissioners, are there any questions on the staff recommendation as presented?
I just have a question about the
Commissioner Brown?
post rezoning. Is the expectation that ASA is going to develop additional affordable housing, or is it just in general making it more palatable for the area?
I believe what we saw was St. Hugh, right? Is that affordable development that's being rehabbed, I believe, right? But I'll let Dan answer.
Excuse me, we also have somebody, Amanda from ASE on the line with their hand raised. Would you like to hear from them?
Sure, thank you. Good
Okay.
call.
Okay, Amanda, I believe you're allowed to speak.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, good afternoon, commissioners. Yes, we actually are going to preserve St. Hugh. We are actually going to have 30 units for senior affordable housing at St. Hugh campus. We're actually going to start construction hopefully within the next 12 months. So yes, the hope is to build additional affordable housing within this zoning.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Somerville, did I see you about to ask something earlier? Okay. Any more questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any questions in the audience? Seeing none, Amy, do we have anybody
Here, I
online?
have another hand up from LRHI China SKW. Shall I allow him to speak?
Please, thanks. Hi again.
Hi again. As the city rezones industrial land to support housing and align with the Philadelphia 2035, how can we streamline approvals for pre-engineered workforce aligned with the modular housing so that these sites can move forward from zoning to delivery faster without repeat ZBA barriers? Thank you.
Thank you again. The response from earlier still stands. There will be some coordination as we explore the modular housing efforts. One of the things that is hopefully that will incentivize will come out of that process, hopefully, is not just the development of housing, but also connecting to workforce development opportunities. So that remains on the radar in our mission. Thank you.
No more hands, Chair.
Thank you, Amy. With that said, do we have a motion to accept the staff recommendation for approval for zoning bill number 260211?
I motion to accept staff recommendation for approval.
And I second.
Motion on the table and properly second, and I'll now poll. Commissioner Clinton?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Somerville?
Aye.
And Commissioner Valle?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you.
All right, and the final item on the agenda, I believe, is zoning bill number 260212, and that will be presented by Mike Gall. Hey, Mike.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Michael Gall. I'm with the legislation team here at the Planning Commission.
I'm sorry. Can we just wait till Commissioner Gonzalez comes in? I'm sorry about that.
Get too excited.
Last one.
Welcome back, Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right, we now have a presentation for the last item, which is zoning bill number 260212.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Michael Gall with the legislation team here at the Planning Commission, and I am here for you today to present bill number 260212, introduced on March 12th, 2026 by Councilmember Lozada, to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by McKinley Street, Leonard Street, Devereaux Avenue, and Bustleton Avenue. The action before the commission today is a proposed remapping of a single property at 2000 McKinley Street, situated in Wissinoming at the far western edge of the North Delaware Planning District. This property lies very close to the corner of Roosevelt Boulevard and Bustleton Avenue, which acts as a commercial gateway from the northeast into the Wissinoming and Frankfurt neighborhoods. Zooming in a little bit more to the bound area as described in the legislation text, it is overwhelmingly residential single-family in nature, in the typical northeast post-war row building style with the first floor raised above grade and the basement exposed with a shared rear driveway, just as you saw a few months ago in the overlay that I presented to you. The western end of this block is part of the Bustleton Avenue commercial corridor. Currently within these boundaries, the majority of the block is RSA 5, residential single-family attached. Only the property at the corner of Bustleton and Devereaux carries the CMX2 commercial mixed-use base zoning typical of the Bustleton corridor. CMX2 districts can also be found in the commercial space across the street, a block north at Robinson Bustleton, and a block south at Comley and Bustleton. That last property is the location of SEPTA's Comley Bus Depot. So this corridor is served by a number of bus routes, including the 14, 20, and 58, and is a block away from stops on SEPTA's Route 1 bus that travels the length of Roosevelt Boulevard. This bill simply proposes to extend the current CMX2 zoning along this block of Bustleton Avenue, creating a more cohesive and context-appropriate commercial presence along this heavily trafficked stretch of Bustleton. Zooming in a bit further, we can see the property in question. Situated at the corner of Bustleton and McKinley, the lot is larger than its neighboring residential properties, with a triangular side yard at the end of the block facing Bustleton. The current building was constructed in 1947 and received a zoning variance for multifamily use at that time. A garage was added to the rear of the property in 1980, and throughout the early 80s was documented to be operating as a painting contractor's office and accessory material storage. Here we can see a view of the side of 2000's McKinley, which has a little over 100 feet of frontage along Bustleton Avenue's busy commercial corridor, but is currently not activated with public-facing commercial uses. The rear garage has now been converted into a commercial business space. The business's current model is as a commissary kitchen, intended to support established and startup businesses, as well as food processors in need of rental commercial kitchen space. They offer shared-use kitchen and food storage options, available at affordable hourly rates to culinary entrepreneurs. The attached main original home building is still operated as a 3-unit multifamily residential dwelling. A number of other properties with side yard boundaries on the east side of Bustleton Avenue were constructed in the same residential row housing style with exposed side basement frontage along the corridor. Some of these properties, like this hair and nail salon directly behind the 2000 McKinley property at the corner of Bustleton and Devereaux, have already been converted to commercial use. As I mentioned, the pictured property here is already mapped to CMX2. Turning around to look across Bustleton Avenue from these properties, you can see a low-rise commercial corridor, also mapped to CMX2. So this remapping proposal would strengthen the mixed-use, walkable commercial nature of a main neighborhood gateway near Roosevelt Boulevard. The applicant's plans for this site include the elimination of one of the 3 residential units that currently exist on the property. This space would instead be converted to a retail food operation with plans for an ice cream shop along the side of the property facing Bustleton Avenue. Additionally, this action would allow the property owner to convert some of the additional space to add extra commissary kitchen and food storage uses to support the existing business's growth. This action is consistent with several provisions of the city's comprehensive plan. Specifically, Citywide Vision Thrive Recommendation 1.1.2 calls upon the city to strengthen neighborhood centers by developing viable commercial corridors. And reinforcing the North Delaware District Plan Thrive Recommendation number 6 recommends that the city concentrate commercial zoning along active commercial corridors, and this action further reinforces the city's continuing commitment to that goal. I wanted to note that we did reach out to the local RCO, Community on the Rise, and I forwarded their response to the council office, who indicated that they would work directly with the civic group to address any of their specific questions. They indicated they were broadly supportive of more commercial activity on this corridor, but they had specific questions about the legislative process versus the zoning board appeal process, as well as some specifics regarding the interior site renovations. It's also worth noting that this property is in a location at the boundary of 2 planning districts, North Delaware and Lower Northeast is across the street, as well as being near the confluence of 3 councilmanic boundaries. Districts 6, 7, and 9 all meet within a few blocks of this area. This combination has historically led to an inconsistent approach to this part of the Bustleton corridor, and staff explored widening the remapping area to further reinforce the district and correctively map other properties to align with comprehensive plan goals, But we found that in this immediate vicinity, only the single property's current and historic use is inconsistent with its zoning. And so on bill number 60212, staff recommendation is for approval.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Any questions on the staff recommendation for approval as presented from the commissioners?
I just have a quick question.
Commissioner Somerville?
So the commissary is facing Bustleton, is that what you said, or is on the corner?
So the commissary kitchen is almost entirely in that garage space in the rear. It is a public use in that members of the public can rent it, but it is not a retail space where you can go in and purchase things.
Got you. Okay.
Thanks for that clarification, Michael. Any more questions from the commissioners?
I have one clarifying question.
Commissioner Valle?
Thank you. In this image, it looks like the larger building is further back, but in the rendering, it looks like it comes to the front. Is there a modification being done or?
No, not to the
No.
exterior of the property at all.
Oh,
All
okay.
all the renovations would be interior with the exception of, I believe, just some
the
cosmetic
canopies?
awnings and things like that.
Okay,
signage.
thank you for that. Mhm.
Thanks again, Michael. Any more questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, are there any questions in the audience? Seeing none, is there anybody online? Amy?
No hands, Chair.
Thank you. And now we'll call for a motion to accept the staff recommendation for approval for zoning bill number 260212.
I make a motion to accept staff recommendation for approval.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gonzalez. Is there a
Second.
second? Properly seconded by Commissioner Brown. I'll now poll. Commissioner Clinton?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Somerville?
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Commissioner Valle?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you, Chair.
That concludes our agenda for today. There are no questions or new business or old business. I'll now call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, everybody.